So I'm 19 and I run a marketing and consulting business, working way less than you probably might think. But it's not always been this way. This is me 3 years ago, right after I graduated middle school and just when I started out. I was going through cycles of working for either 0 hours or 10 hours, depending on how I felt that day. I didn't enjoy working in the slightest, and I kind of hated my life, to be honest. Although I was doing good on paper, so I had a great social circle, lots of friends. I was always doing things. I had a girlfriend. I had all of these kind of desirable things. I didn't really care because I wasn't making the progress that I wanted to towards my goals in my business. So I got nothing done, I made no progress, and it sucked. Fast forward to now, the present day. I get all of my high impact tasks done in just 3 to 4 hours. I actively choose to work longer than I have to. I love my life mostly. I'm pretty content with everything now, even though there's still more to, of course, be desired there. And I get loads done, and I'm making loads of progress. So if you're anything like I used to be back when I first started out, then you have clicked on the right video. I can promise you that. Over the course of the next few minutes, I'm going to show you everything that I have learned so far. Also, you can go ahead and work less if you want to. You can actually enjoy your work, which is a big one, and you can get more done overall. Because here is the honest truth of things. Business is a game of inputs and outputs. So as frustrated as I was that I wasn't making the progress that I wanted to, it only really made sense because the inputs that I was putting in were low quality, inconsistent, and not sufficient in quantity. So by extension, if you can give more, if you can give better, and you can give more often, you are going to get more outputs. You are going to get better outputs, and you are going to get those outputs more often as well. It's really that simple. Here's the thing that I really need you to understand. Most problems in life are design problems. Let me explain what I mean by that. If you think about it, everything around you was designed by someone. And that design either achieves its purpose or it doesn't achieve its purpose. Now, when it comes to faulty physical products, we will call it a design flaw if it doesn't do the thing that it's supposed to do, right? However, when it comes to the topic of systems in our business and our lifestyle overall, for some reason we don't think of it in the same way. Even though if you think about it, those systems and the things that we do in our life is designed in the same way that any physical product is. So the question really becomes, well, why not? Why don't we look at things like systems in our business and the way that we lead our lifestyle in the same way? It's design flaws, right? And so because of this, I can tell you right now with full confidence, no amount of productivity hacks are going to fix the problem. And that's because you're still operating inside the same system. You have made zero changes to the actual design of your workflow and productivity system. Now again, I don't know what that system looks like for you exactly. What I can tell you is how mine used to look like. And that was an unorganized to-do list. I had loads and loads of random ass Notion pages tracking every conceivable micro detail for no reason. And then I spent more time actually trying to track things instead of doing things. I was sticking only to working within specific times, so kind of like a 9 to 5er. It hits 5 o'clock and then you're just like, okay, I'm done for the day, and that's the end of that. And also, by extension, if, you know, I start work at 9 a.m. and then I wake up at 11:30, I'm like, oh man, I guess the day is ruined. And I had no idea where my time was actually going. Like, I didn't know day to day how I was spending my time, which is pretty freaking bad when you realize that as an entrepreneur, your time is money. If you had money randomly disappearing from your bank account every day, you'd be thinking, well, where's that money going? And you'd probably try and fix it very quickly. But apparently we just don't seem to do this when it comes to our time. And so the system that I was operating in, it didn't matter how many new tactics or hacks I wanted to add to that, it was fundamentally a flawed system. So we need to build out something entirely new to replace the thing that I used to run on and replace whatever it is that you're running on right now. Because let's be honest, if you were happy with your system, you wouldn't be watching this video learning about how to become more productive and get more work done for your business, would you? And so I have built out the system to actually get things done as an entrepreneur better and in less time. It's broken up into 3 steps. And so by the end of this, you can just rip it, plug and play, and start getting results really, really fast. Just a moment, I'm about to reveal to you the system that I personally use from day to day, and I also give it to all of my clients. So if you end up liking exactly what you're about to see, then if I'm being completely honest, you'll also probably like working with us. And that's because unlike most people promising like business growth, we're going to increase your sales, or the old skyrocket your revenue thing. Unlike most people that actually have that kind of thing as a part of the offer, we take a very, very hands-on, serious, done with you approach, which is something that I've not seen many people in parallel spaces to my business actually do. We jump on calls and we show you how we do things. We don't just go ahead and do whatever the hell. And we also don't just give you information courses. In fact, I have no courses, and expect you to just kind of run off and do it all yourself without any sort of support. So if you like the sound of that kind of treatment, well, you can find out more using the link in the description. And might I add as well, you can get a taster of that, because for a limited time only, me and my team are offering free marketing, sales, and brand strategy audits, which is essentially just like paid treatment. It's really unsustainable for my business, if I'm being honest, and I'm going to have to take it off the table very soon. Not a fake urgency push, it's just genuinely true. I am burning money by offering you that thing. So go ahead, head down to the link in the description, check it out, claim one of those audits for yourself as well while you're at it, and I can't wait to hear from you soon. Alrighty, so what is the first part of the system? Well, first of all, we need to understand what it is that we actually need to do. Now, you would probably do this by writing a to-do list, in the sense that it kind of looks like this. That's how you identify the things that you need to do. But there is an issue. Traditional to-do lists, so things that look like that, are extremely flawed by design. And that's because every task on there is given equal weight. So when you're just writing things from line to line to line, you can have something like take the trash out, which is obviously of like very little importance, and finish this presentation that's due for the meeting that's in 1 hour's time. But the thing is, there's no distinction made between those tasks. There's no prioritization capability. There is a far better way of actually identifying what needs doing. This involves using as a base the Eisenhower matrix, which is something that President Dwight D. Eisenhower devised at some point during his career, which basically it allowed him make the distinction between the tasks that he needed to do. So you could do things, decide when to do things if they're not urgent, but they are still important and need doing. Things that aren't really important but they need doing, who can you delegate it to? And if they're not important, not urgent, then just don't do it because you're wasting time. So you can see that this matrix actually has prioritization capability. And that is why Mr. Eisenhower was quite a fan of this. So what worked for him doesn't necessarily work for us. This, I think, is way better because it harnesses the power of what's in the Eisenhower matrix, but also turns it into a more functional to-do list. So this is what I use, and I've basically called it the modified Eisenhower matrix. I don't have a fancier name for it at this point in time. Essentially, this is a perfect replacement for your to-do list. So what you can do is you can basically just dump all of the tasks that you have to do within a given time frame, and you can basically group them based on how much of an impact they're going to make on your business and how urgent are they, and you can just easily group tasks. So the obvious benefit here is you actually know what needs doing now. There is a prioritization capability. Obviously, you can start from working on the things that are high impact and very, very time sensitive. You can start by working on those and then just work your way through the rest of the tasks as you go. That is number one. Very, very easy, very, very powerful stuff. And by the way, you can do this either digitally or physically. I prefer to do it on paper because it's like mind, pen, paper connection. It's just, it just works better for me, but you can do it however you like. And now that's going to take us on to step number 2. It's a matter of identifying when will we get it done. Now, not knowing when to do something or how long it should take approximately is a huge bottleneck. It's something that I see a lot of entrepreneurs bump into, and then it just throws their entire day off. And so to fix that exact problem that so many people constantly deal with, and I used to deal with, I'm going to show you a genuinely life-changing way of doing this, of understanding when things need to be done, understanding how long they're going to take approximately. And this is a absolutely incredible method that was given to me by my mentor, and it has changed my life, and I am pretty darn confident it's going to change yours as well if you take this and implement it. Very simple name, it's called offensive calendaring. So it's using a calendar as an offensive tool, like a war map or something, like, you know, they used to do back in ye olden times. And you can do this using whatever calendar app it is that you use. So it can be Apple Calendar, Google Calendar, Notion Calendar. This is a brand new way of using those in the most effective way possible. So here is the exact kind of layout. This is the image that my mentor sent to me when he was teaching me how this works. And this is basically what you do. So as you can see, he's scheduled in everything that he's doing over the course of the week. You can see those kind of orange boxes. are tasks that have not yet been done, but are scheduled to be done. So he actually has an exact time frame of when he's anticipating to get these things done. He's got an estimation of how long they're going to take. This is a level of clarity that most people trying to get through things simply don't have. There is zero room for doubt because you now know exactly what it is that you need to be working on at every hour of the day. So start planning like this. Actually put the things that you need to be doing through these calendars. It works like a damn charm. And here's a bonus as well for when you're sitting there and you're putting things into the calendar, scheduling them. You can separate your roles. So what do I mean when I say that? Well, I mean set some days to be manager days and set some days to be maker days. Because here's the thing, as an entrepreneur, there are two key roles that you need to fulfill. That is being a manager, so that's dealing with people, that's dealing with administrative work, so that's going to be things like calls, emails, making decisions, putting out fires, that kind of thing. But you also have to work as a maker, so that's doing the deep work that moves the needle forward. That's going to be doing things like service delivery, fulfillment, system build-outs, working on content, product development, anything that requires a lot of focus and a lot of concentration. So you need to be able to do both of these different kinds of things. They're different categories of work entirely. So if you're able to schedule those different tasks based on whether or not they're a manager task or a maker task, you aren't going to be killing your momentum. If you're trying to sit there focusing on service delivery or working on content, it's going to be very, very difficult to actually concentrate when you're thinking in your head, oh man, I have a call in an hour. Oh no, I need to prepare for that call in an hour. And it's obviously going to kill your momentum and you're not going to move as fast as you otherwise could. I think it was Charles Dickens that said something like, he used to basically decline a lot of invites to go out places with people because he knew that if he accepted them, it would distract him from doing his writing. So now, by using the offensive calendaring tool, we actually know exactly when we're going to get things done. And so now that takes us on to the final step of this system. Has it been done? You scheduled it, but have you actually done it? Now that we have a plan and we can actually execute on that plan, there's something that you really need to know. Every plan fails, one way or another. I think this is something that they teach in the Marines. They basically just say like, yeah, if you make a plan, it's gonna fail. Because if you're put in a stressful situation when you've got to think on your feet, you need a contingency really, really damn fast. If you don't know how to adapt in that situation, if you are just trying to stick to your plan, that genuinely gets people killed. So yes, although we've made an effective plan, which is more than most people, we are stuck with this problem. We have no recollection of how we actually spent our time, which I think was actually mentioned in a book called The Effective Executive, written by Peter Drucker back in the 60s. And he basically made the point that in our hunter-gatherer past, we didn't really have a great ability of recalling time, but it didn't really matter because we were just focused on survival and getting on to the next day. But nowadays, when we're running on 24 hours and stuff in a post-industrial world, knowing where our time is going is pretty damn important. And so if we don't know how we're spending our time, we don't have any data on how to improve and work more efficiently with that time. And thus, the sequel to the offensive calendar, the defensive calendar. So again, this is the second part to the technique that my mentor taught me. The main idea here is that you update things as you go. So as we said earlier, you've blocked everything in terms of a plan of when you're going to do things. But of course, the plan's going to fail. Like, odds are things aren't going to go perfectly. And that's fine. That's exactly what this system accounts for. So a great analogy I like to use for this is, you know, like executives, and they have those tablets and they like move things around just as they need to. Like, oh yeah, we'll move this meeting to here and stuff like that. And then they just carry on with the rest of the day. Or they'll ask their secretary to move this to then, and they don't really care. It's kind of like that. Very low stress, very simple. The main objective of defensive calendaring is understanding where all of our time is going. And basically the point is using the calendar as close to possible perfect recreation of how you spent your time. So of course you can see here I was working on that, but also on Saturday the 25th of April, I slept in. So I made a note of that. And that's basically given me data. Okay, I slept in on that day. Well, why did that happen? Okay, that's cost me an entire morning where I could have been doing work. That's not great. And so now I can actually tackle that issue, and then I can spend my time more effectively. If I didn't record this, I would probably forget and I wouldn't have that data to work on. So do you see how effective actually tracking everything on the defensive calendar is? Also, I know this is a problem that I used to deal with and what a lot of entrepreneurs deal with, because usually if you're a compulsive person, you tend to be drawn into this line of work. But this is absolutely great at reducing stress and neuroticism, because actually a lot of that stress comes from not knowing if you spent your time well, not knowing if you're actually doing the things that you need to be doing at the right time. Well, you can reduce that now with the defensive calendar because you know where all your time's going. So if anytime you're thinking, oh man, I don't think I'm being very productive, well, you can just hop on the calendar and be like, well, the evidence is there, it speaks for itself. And of course, just like I was saying, you now know where your time's actually going. And so you can use that as data to improve and to work more efficiently in the future. And so that is the system. That is the new productivity system that I have designed from start to finish, with some help from some very, very clever people and using my own personal experience in the last 3 years running my marketing consulting business. So as for when to run through this process, I would do these two on a Sunday. So basically just like do the Eisenhower matrix and identify what needs to be done and how urgent it is. Then you can schedule it all in on the offensive calendar for the week. And by the way, if you're new to doing this, then I dare say it might feel a bit overwhelming trying to schedule everything in for the entire week. Don't worry, you get better at that with time. Just try and schedule as far into the future as you can. Even if that's just stopping at Wednesday. That's fine, that's a start. You'll get better as you go. And of course, has it been done? Well, make sure you're checking in every single day. So I find it quite good to update after a work block, and you can kind of just check in a few times during the day. And also at the end of the day, make sure that you check in on what you're doing tomorrow and you just ensure that everything's up to date. So check in every single day to do the third step of this. And that's it. I hope that really, really helps. Just go ahead, play this today and just see what it does for your business. I promise you, it'll make a huge impact and you will feel it almost right away. But that's the end of that. Thank you for getting to the end of this video. I really hope you found this valuable. Let me know how it goes for you down in the comments below if you want to. And of course, remember, there is that link in the description that you can go check out. Apply to work with me and my team. And of course, don't forget, there is that free audit for a limited time. Take advantage while you can. But that's all I have to say on that, and I will see you in the next video. Have a great rest of your day.